Hey, happy Wednesday. Um, I wanted to go live and do a Q&A before I go to Disney next week. So I had a couple questions. I took notes on them. So the main thing I am seeing a lot of is basically I see a lot of questions or like I want to know more about how to choose my service and how to land clients. So we'll dive into that. Um, Before we do, Grace had a really awesome question, and I'm gonna go ahead and tag her um, because here she is. She was asking, and it's such an important question. I'm so glad, Grace, that you asked this because um, I kind of overlooked this when I was getting started, and I got super, super burnt out and like to where I was having physical symptoms of burnout. So I'm so glad you asked this. She was like, how do we get started and be successful? Hold on. I can't type and talk at the same time. Okay, wanted to tag Grace. So she's like, how do we get started and like be a successful freelance mama while we're still like making sure we're spending time with our little one, because that's why we got started in the first place, right? And Grace, I'm just like so glad you asked this because I was just trying to like kind of do it all, and I was still definitely spending time with my little one. However, I was like sacrificing a lot of my sleep and things um, like that, like forgetting to eat and all kinds of things, which as moms, we do that anyway. But like when I added freelancing to that and didn't have like a strong boundaries with myself, that's what happened. I got really burnt out. So my number one thing would be look at your little one's schedule. So I know you said you recently had your baby, so I don't know how old they are, but for me, when I just had my one, um, she was like, you know, she was pretty young. She was like 3 months old. Um, but what I would do is I would kind of look at, okay, what is her schedule like? When is she kind of napping? Um, kind of like breaking it down, making her schedule and then fitting in. I would fit in my time around that. Because before um, I was making my business the center and trying to fit in family, and I just was like so burnt out and miserable, and I don't want you all to make the same mistake, right? So look at your little one's schedule. Like for me, I like what I do is if they're going to be off of school, I don't plan anything unless I know like my husband's home right now with the kids. So I know that okay, that's good. They're taken care of. They're, and when he is home or when they are off of school, I'm not planning a ton of stuff, right? It's just like a few things here and there, and we're still getting that awesome family time. Um, so really just like making a schedule, and I know that that can be easier said than done. I have ADHD, so like for me, sticking to a schedule is so freaking hard. And then I know kids, our kids, they throw us for a loop today. They throw us for a loop every day sometimes. But really just figuring out your family's schedule and your family's needs, and then finding the blocks of time around that's where you can plug in, okay, I could do an hour after she goes to bed, or hey, she's napping at this point. Let me sit down for an hour and do this. Ooh, excuse me. So that's what I would do. I would track your time. Excuse me. I would track your time, and for a week, like by 15-30 minute intervals. I do have a time tracker. I do have a time tracker. So if anybody is interested in that, I can send it to you. And Grace, just let me know. And what it does is it'll, like, you break down your time by 15 minutes. Okay. And I'm talking like the entire 24 hours of the day. So like, okay, I'm sleeping during this time. Okay. I am doing breakfast and taking care of the kids during this time. I am, we have a play date, or hey, I'm scrolling social media. And be honest, like, it's okay. I am no shame in that. Like, you need some downtime. So put in all of that, or hey, I'm watching Netflix, or hey, put in all your downtime, and don't feel bad about it, okay? Because when I was doing it, I was like, oh, I feel so bad. No, don't feel bad about it. Just put in your downtime, all of it, anything you're doing. Just go and make a note of it. And then you can kind of start to see, okay, wow, I watched Netflix for 3 hours on Tuesday after my kids went to bed. So I don't want to give up my Netflix because I really enjoy doing that. I really enjoy the downtime. So instead of watching it for 3 hours, maybe I'm just going to watch it for 1 and I'll work for 2. So it's not going to be like getting rid of that. It's just going to be seeing where you can kind of fit in these pockets of time. Or, oh, my baby takes a 2-hour nap in the afternoon instead of scrolling social media. Maybe I can get on and do some work. So I highly recommend tracking your time and making sure, like, you put your priorities first. Your family, figure out what your priorities are, put them first, and then when you track your time, you could see, okay, well, I can fit freelancing and getting started and figuring this out. I can commit to 5 or 10 hours a week. So that's 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I can commit to that, and I could fit it in 1 hour here and 1 hour there, and I'm not giving up my family time, and I'm not giving up my me time either. So I think that's so important, and it's really just about finding the balance. So, okay, let's see. So I think I answered that. Let me look at I'm gonna look at my other notes. Okay, choosing your service. So after we kind of track our time and figure out, like I said, I have a time tracker, so let me know I can send that over if anybody just wants to comment time tracker in the comments, and I'll send it to you. And that way it's just like a little Google Sheets, and you can kind of fill it in. So after we kind of do that and like, okay, I can fit this in. This is I'm feeling good about this. So then we're going to figure out how to choose your service. So what I always recommend doing is really brainstorming. Hold on. Need a coffee break. I really recommend brainstorming. Like, I love those like big pieces of paper. I don't know. My kids are a little, well, I guess they're preschool age, so we have like rolls of paper, and I'll like take some, put it across the dining room table after they go to bed, and then like just like kind of brainstorm on one big piece of paper, or if you have a whiteboard on the wall, figure out, number one, what your skills are. And I get this a lot with moms. They're like, oh, I don't have any skills. Wrong. No, you absolutely do. And because one, like, think about what did you do before you were a mom? Okay. Think about any experience you have in the workforce. I had somebody who say, oh, well, I only did retail or service industry. Oh my goodness. That is hard. one, I could never survive. My husband did food service, and I've heard stories. So, like, I don't know firsthand, but I've heard like how hard it is and what you're juggling. You're juggling multiple things at a time, and you're prioritizing. You're thinking on your feet. Like, those are all like super important skills and in demand freelance skills. Think about project management. Like, there are businesses that need somebody to like help them complete, or not complete, like stay on track with their projects that their team is doing, like checking in, what do we need, what's missing, what's the status, do we need to make adjustments, like prioritizing, okay, this is stat, like right now. So thinking about those things, like that's right there a huge skill. Same like virtual assistant, being a virtual assistant too, can definitely, because somebody I know was doing like inventory. So like that's data entry and like data tracking, and there's so many options. And then too, like if you have other experience, or even if, so sometimes I have moms that are like, well, I've never even had any kind of like job experience. I've just been a mom. And I'm like, okay, well, you're not just a mom. Okay, being a mom is hard, and I want you to think about all the things that you do as a mom on the daily. So for me, like you're managing other people's schedules. That's something a virtual assistant can do. You're basically being a project manager around your house. Okay, what needs to be done? I'm delegating this to you, or I'm doing it. This is this is number one priority. Okay, this can wait. You're doing that. You're communicating with either your kids, if they have teachers or a nanny or other mom friends, scheduling play dates, your pediatrician's office, any kind of, some kids get like speech therapy or anything like that. You are communicating and you're having to facilitate that. So that's something as a mom. A lot of moms handle, like basically you're the CEO of your household, which I mean you are like, okay, we're doing this, that, like you've got it, you've got the organization skills. I say I'm a hot mess, but like I'm still the CEO of my household, and like it's still running, right? Like, so it's not perfect, but it's enough. And that is a skill. That's a skill we have as moms. Multitasking, prioritizing, all of these things, and staying organized and managing schedules and making appointments. Gosh, I'm like, oh, okay, my youngest just had his, I was like, oh, I need to make his 1 year checkup. And then my middle one, I was like, oh, I need to make his 3 year checkup, and with the pediatrician. And they had their Easter parties at school, and we need to bring this, like just organizing everything, even if you are quote unquote just a mom, which you're not. Also, a lot of moms handle their, do pay the bills, handle the finances and budgeting, and, so like bookkeeping, is another one. And I know some moms have that accounting experience. and then some moms, they are like these, I love them, like the micro, I think they're called micro influencers, like on social media, where you've got couple thousand followers, and like you've built up your social media account like with whatever content, whether it was mom content or homeschooling or whatever. So if you've built that up, you could be a social media manager. You did it for yourself, you could do it for somebody else. So there's so many options. So I would really just, I went on a tangent there, but I would really just brainstorm like all those skills that you have, and like get creative, think outside the box. Think outside the box of what your skills are, and don't forget the skills, the valuable skills you bring as a mom. So that's step one with choosing your service. Step two is figuring out what you're passionate about and what you enjoy doing. So I give this example all the time. So I'm good at doing like data entry, like kind of tedious stuff, like spreadsheets or documents and stuff. And while I'm good at it, it makes me want to stab my eyes out. Like, I would rather just like stab my eyes out than do it. So that is not a service I'm going to want to offer. I may be good at it, but no, I'm going to be miserable. So I enjoy writing. I love content writing. I just like, I've always, when I was in third grade, I said I wanted to grow up and be a writer. And funny enough, like, that's actually what happened. Not like an actual, like a fiction writer, but I do content writing for my clients, like podcast show notes, blog posts, social media posts, emails. I'm forgetting another one, but so that's what I love to do. So that's a service that I know I have the skills to back that up, and I'm interested in it. Another one is like creative design type work. Now, I am no official graphic designer, and I don't use like Adobe Illustrator or the fancy software, but like Canva, I'm always like being creative in there, and so like, okay, I could do graphic design and offer creative services. So that's really that's kind of how I got to where I was. And I will just be totally transparent with you. I didn't start out doing content writing. I started out doing being a virtual assistant and an online business manager and a project manager. So as the needs of my family changed, I tweaked this. So when I just had one baby, that was totally fine to be a VA and a project manager and all that, right? I was totally fine. I added a baby there, and then after he was probably about 6 months old, and I was like, I can't, like, this is too much for me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to start like figuring out how I can transition and like what I wanted to do. That's when I was like, kind of did this process again. I was like, okay, I really love writing. Like, let me do that. I had a couple of clients when I was a VA give me some writing, like writing tasks. And I was like, I really like this. And instead of kind of having to do, I don't know, it was a lot, instead of a bunch of little tasks that I had to do each week that became like overwhelming. It wasn't hard. It was just the stage I was at in my life. Being a stay-at-home mom to 2 under 2 was not for the weak. And so I just made me kind of like revisit this and pivot into content writing, because I was like, okay, that's like, write the piece of content and it's done, like, and get the feedback and it's done. And it's like, it was much more manageable for me and where I was at in my life and how my brain works. It wasn't as overwhelming. So that's how I would figure out like what service you're going to offer, is go through that process and know that, hey, you're not married to that. I was a VA at first, and when my life circumstances changed, I pivoted, I tweaked. So I just want to be clear with that. You can change your mind. Now, with that, there's a little caveat. I want to make sure whatever you're choosing, let's give it time to work and see how we feel about it. Instead of just, because if you're constantly flip-flopping, it's hard to get traction. So, get a good idea. Know that you can change your mind down the road, but let's give it a little time to work. Let's give it at least 3 months to work. And then you can kind of revisit and pivot if you need to. And then, the next question was landing clients. Okay, yeah, checking my notes there. How to land clients. So, what I would say is, first, like, when you really need to know how to find clients. And I talked about there's 4 main ways. So you could reach out to people you know, and you don't have to be all like slimy about it, because I know, like, I don't know, you get those, hey girl, want to buy my thing messages, and you're like, no, we don't have to be like that. So I would say, like, what I do is, when I was first like starting, I reached out and I did a social media post on my own profile, and we're going to have to get really comfortable talking about what we do in order to get clients. So I did a social media post. I reached out to people I knew who had businesses that I was like in the industry. I was kind of targeting like women-owned businesses, small businesses. And all I said was, hey, this is off the cuff, but the gist of it was, hey, wanted to touch base with you and give you a little life update. I am starting to offer virtual assistant services. I know you are very involved in the business world, and if you know of anybody who might need my services, I would be forever grateful for an introduction. Okay, so basically it's not, hey, buy my thing. It's, oh, hey, Irene. It's, hey, do you know of anybody? Like, it's basically asking for help. And so many times, I would say 99% of times, people just want to help you. And they're like, oh, yeah, I've gotten so many referrals that way. Oh, hey, I know somebody who might need your services. And then they introduce me and I get a client. Or when I posted on my own social media profile, I had somebody who I actually used to babysit her kids in college, when I was in college. And she had started her own, became an online business coach, and she reached out to me. She's like, hey, you're doing this? I need a VA. And like, just boom, from me just talking about it, I was getting clients. Okay. So, reaching out to those people, posting on your social media, posting in groups, if there's any promo days, or if somebody comment or says, hey, does anybody know of who can help me with XYZ? And you can hey, I'd love to learn more. I'm offering this, et cetera, right? So, let's see, what did I say? Social media, warm network. You can reach out to people like cold pitch, which that scares a lot of people, but I can tell you that a majority of my clients came from me sending an email, like just Googling, whatever business I was like. So I worked in HR, human resources, before I did this. And then before that I was a teacher. But, when I was kind of just transitioning into content writing, I was like, I'm going to leverage my HR experience. So I would Google like HR consulting firms, and I would send them an email. And it was just something like, hey, do you ever outsource your writing to freelancers? I would love to help you tackle your projects quickly and efficiently, and then give them a little bit about me. And I landed a lot of clients that way. So, I'm trying to think. Let's see. You can also go on, I lost my light. You can also go on, Upwork is a freelancer platform. It's not my favorite, but I think for people that are just getting started, it's perfect. I find it's not as lucrative because, they do take a cut, and it's a lot of competition on there, but like you can still make it work. I've made it work. And then the last thing is, if you have any, depending on where you're at in your life, right? If you have local like women in business events or chamber of commerce events, you can absolutely go there, and go to those events and kind of network. For me personally, I'm not in that stage of life right now. I still have, my kids go to school 3 days a week, but the baby stays home with me still. So that's hard for me to manage. So that's not something I can do at this point, but I have done it in the past. And that's been great for getting connections. So as far as landing clients, really just a lot of times it's going to start with a discovery call or a coffee chat. It's like a 30-minute Zoom. And basically you are just getting to know the client, and you're going to see if you're a good fit for them. Like, can you solve their problem? And two, if they're a good fit for you. Are they going to micromanage you? For me, that's like a deal breaker, right? So you're kind of like scoping them out and seeing how they work and getting the feel for them. And then if you decide, hey, it's a great fit for us to work together, then you go on and do that. So really, when you're doing a discovery call, what I do is I ask a lot of questions. I listen. I let them talk, because usually just like let them talk most of the time. And really kind of take in what they're saying and use that to figure out, okay, are we going to be a good fit? Are we not going to be a good fit? Really just using, just using that time and that face-to-face time with them to figure that out. And a lot of times I get moms, well, I have kids at home, and I tell clients when I'm doing a discovery call, I'm totally upfront. I'm like, hey, my kid is napping in the background, or hey, my baby's playing on the floor next to me. I just want to be upfront with that. So if you hear any weird noises, that's what that is. And 99% of the time, they're like, oh yeah, I've got kids at home, or oh yeah, I've got, whatever. So that's how I would say. And then just really like, when you're on those discovery calls, just really listening and trust your gut. There have been plenty of times where I got on a call and I was like, I don't know about this. And I went ahead with it, and it ended up being like a big pain in my behind. Okay. So always trust your gut. And when you're getting on those calls, just listening and, okay, can I solve their problem? Can I do this? And getting a feel for them. And it can sound scary at first, but it's just like, think of it, it's just a conversation. It's just a conversation. Nobody's agreed to anything yet. Nobody, just kind of try to take the pressure off. And before you go in, remember all your skills that you have. Remember all of that. Even if what you do is take that sheet that you brainstormed on and review it before you go into a call and be like, oh yeah, I can do this. You can even set it on the desk next to you. Okay, yeah, I can do this. This can absolutely work. Right? Okay. So, and just being confident that you can do this. Like I say, being a mom is like the hardest thing I've ever done, the best thing I've ever done, but the hardest. And freelancing is challenging at times, and it requires effort, but it has nothing on being a mom. So, nothing on being a mom. So if you could be a mom and you can do that hard thing, you can absolutely make freelancing work. It's all about making the commitment and sticking to it. And of course, I am here in this group to support you. So if you have any questions, please post in the group. I guarantee you're not the only one with that question. I guarantee I probably had that question when I was getting started. So please use this resource. I am in here as much as I can answering questions. Again, I am going out of town next week. We're going to go see Mickey Mouse for my middle son's 3rd birthday. So I won't be as active in here, just to hold that boundary with my own boundary with my family time. But I am going to have some posts all about choosing your service, landing clients, kind of like balancing mom life. I'm going to have those posts scheduled out while I'm gone so that you can still get that information, and I'll share those resources with you. That way, even though I'm on vacation, you're still reaping the benefits, and I'm holding my boundary of family time, and you're still getting what you need for the support. So, if you have any questions, please drop them in the group. Like I said, next week I'm going to be slower to respond. And I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. Again, if you want that time tracking resource that I mentioned, in the comments, just drop time tracker and I'll send it to you. Okay, hope everyone has a beautiful rest of the day. I will see you later.